Um, Welcome everyone to the Ishtar Podcast. I believe this is episode 3. Um, we missed last week because I was gone, and then I had technical problems, etc., etc. So we are back at it, and we tonight are going to be primarily talking about the Eververse, because the Eververse is this big discussion that people like to have online about Destiny. A lot of people say it's the downfall of Destiny. A lot of people say, who cares? It's just cosmetics. Um, so we're going to try our best to focus on that. We're not really the best at staying focused on topics. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. And cool. I hope Jaeger's here. I hope Doctor's here. I haven't heard from both of them, actually.
We're two-manning it tonight.
I guess hey, with that 1v1 you talked about.
Yeah. Oh, damn.
Well, they'll join in at some point. So I guess.
I'm here.
Oh, Doctor's here. Doctor's here.
Here we go.
We were having technical issues, that's all.
Oh, technical issues. Story of my life. So yeah, we want to talk about the Eververse tonight, and then next week we want to talk about like Destiny, like holiday events in general, like Solstice, the Halloween event, that kind of stuff. After we've been doing Solstice for a week and a half at that point. So, I'll go ahead and start off by saying a controversial opinion on the online Destiny community. I don't think Eververse is nearly as bad as people make it out to be.
I agree with you. That's the funny part.
Like, obviously, Reddit and Twitter can sometimes be, for lack of a better word, cesspool of Destiny opinions.
Oh, that's for sure.
The main consensus I see is basically Bungie has sold out to microtransactions, which I don't agree with, because as we've talked about in previous weeks, it's really this or doing like a monthly subscription where there's no microtransactions, but you have to pay monthly to play the game. And in that case, you're going to end up spending way more money anyway. And like, yeah, you still have to buy DLC, you still have to buy the season pass, but like, really, is your $60 a year going that far when you consider how much the salary of a single developer is, let alone server costs? I think there's 500 employees.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
Like I don't think people realize how much money actually goes into this.
I think the term microtransactions are overused and not really appropriate when considering the context of what the Eververse actually is. Right. I do think, however, that the Eververse does kind of overreach in maybe its initial goal of just being solely cosmetics, and it kind of does throw a wrench into endgame rewards, which are really heavily tied into cosmetic stuff.
Right.
Like having, I think right now the like the cowboy hat ghost shell thing is like a perfect example of what the Eververse should be, and something like the Iron Banner finisher being a silver only thing is what it should not be.
I can agree with that. Like, there's been some sets. So like, they surprised us. What was it last week with? There's this new set of armor in Rahul's loot pool, at least for the Titan that I saw, and that would be something like, it doesn't look like it fits in with anywhere else in the game. That'd be good for Eververse. Meanwhile, keeping things that look like they belong in the game out of Eververse. If they just made and committed to that change, which I know they did say they're working on, I wouldn't see much of a problem at all with Eververse, besides maybe the pricing. Some things are a little crazy on pricing.
Yeah, the Bright Dust economy definitely needs a rework, but I think we're expecting that in Beyond Light.
Right.
I mean, my big thing when it comes to Eververse is the simple fact that for me, it's not a big deal, because as long as it's not those like aspirational items from the season, because you were just talking about they got rid of that this season anyways, that it's not a big deal to me. And if you look at other games in like the same region, they do the exact same thing and nobody has a problem with it. I look at like MMOs, like Star Wars The Old Republic, oh my gosh. It's called the Cartel Market, which is basically their version of Eververse, is like 15 pages long of gear, of everything you could imagine. All of it being completely non-game changing, just makes you look different, cosmetic. Right. But it's like 15 pages long. So it's just like when I compare it to this, it's like, it's not that big of a deal. There's a couple of armor sets in there, maybe some cool looking guns.
Right.
But it doesn't really change the game.
Right. Like I definitely wish. Well, I think a change that would be good, that would make me care more about older content is, well, I mean, they're sunsetting a lot of it, but like those things that were in Eververse, a year or two ago, that as far as we know are never going to be back to Eververse. If they were put into the general game loot pool later, I feel like that would be a fun change. Like there's that emote, it's from the movie It, where it's like the clown dance. Mm-hmm. I would pay an absurd amount of money to have that emote, or I would grind my ass off. You want to make me do 600 Gambit matches for that? I'd do it. Like I love that movie so much, but I don't know if I'll literally ever see that again. So
there should be more opportunities for in-game effort instead of just bright dust. Well, I mean, even if it is bright dust, there should be more sources for bright dust instead of silver only, I think. Right. Silver should be an option for people who don't maybe have the time or don't really care about doing a million Gambit matches for an emote.
Right. I feel like bright dust is in a weird place too. Like you can't earn a ton of it, and like probably for the better, you can't buy it, and like you can't buy engrams anymore to get it.
Yeah, I'm glad that that's not in the game anymore.
Right. I don't know. It's weird, and like I think by the way things are sounding, like they did say they're working on it for next season, right? Like right. Yeah. I don't really see it changing as far as how much we get. I think it's just going to come from more than just bounties.
Yeah. We're in kind of a weird position right now where we had a couple of really good TWABs in the past, like 4 months, that addressed a lot of the changes upcoming changes, stuff that they're aware of and stuff that they really want to work on for Eververse. So a lot of the feedback that we could have right now might already be in like a future build.
I'd hope so.
I really hope so.
I mean, there's always going to be people bitching about microtransactions. The whole back in my day, we paid $60 and got all the content for free. Which is so dumb to compare something that was like a single player game back in 2010 to
an 8-gigabyte game that's on a disc.
Exactly. To a live evolving universe where they're continuing to make content for years.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'll always go back to comparing Destiny, because they said themselves that they wanted to call Destiny an MMO. So if they're going to call it an MMO, I'm going to compare it to other MMOs.
Right.
And what I'm going to tell you right now is that the microtransactions in Destiny are nothing compared to that, especially considering that most MMOs are on a subscription base to play the game, or at least play the game at like a premium level, which is sort of like what Destiny's going for, only we pay $15 like every 3 months versus you pay $15 like a month on an MMO.
Right.
So and really MMOs have way more players.
And honestly, they'd probably make more money if they just had a monthly subscription too.
That's what I'm saying. And I wouldn't have a problem with it because they already have New Light, which is like, you can play almost the entire game except for whatever's like the newest content over like the past year. And it's like, I wouldn't have a problem if I had to pay $10 a month to play Destiny, if it meant that I got new stuff every month and not that I got a random solstice event that happened last year too.
So are you suggesting removing the seasonal payment, the $15 every 3 months, and then also removing the Eververse entirely and having all of the stuff that's in Eververse and the seasonal content a monthly subscription?
I wouldn't. I mean, I'm saying like monthly subscription, and they can still keep Eververse. Like, I don't have a problem with it as long as it means that if I'm paying a monthly subscription, I would imagine that you either need to hire more staff or get another studio involved, because if I'm going to be paying almost 3 times as much, there better be another studio involved, helping develop stuff, which, I mean, if they're going to develop 2 times as many armor sets, or if it means that we're going to get updates to the servers more often, I'm totally fine with like Eververse being there, just as long as like we said before, as long as the gear in Eververse has nothing to do with the season we're on, I don't have a problem with it. If you want to give me a cowboy hat as like a new armor piece, like I got no problem with that. It has nothing to do with what's going on in the season.
Right. And I feel like the way you just described it, it'd also be a big bonus point for people to subscribe if they got some sort of discount in the Eververse on top of it.
Oh, most definitely. Or like what a lot of MMOs do is you get like, well, we'll take Destiny. It would be like, so you pay $10 a month, and every single at the beginning of the month you get 500 silver. You get 1,000 silver. It's enough to get you a small item, but if you save up over 2 or 3 months, you can get like a full armor set.
Right.
Long time ago in a TWAB, like probably years ago, I remember they just came out and said that 0 Hour and the Whisper missions were both entirely funded by Eververse, and that was, I think, taken pretty well as like, oh well, at least it's all going towards something. But right now, it kind of doesn't really feel like it's going anywhere. It's just more just general monetization for the game on top of the seasonal model, which doesn't feel good as a player.
Right. I get that.
Yeah.
I don't know. The big thing is, I feel like sometime I'm going to sit down and do the math just for fun, but like just estimating, like everyone, 500 people get like the average salary, figure out how much they make in sales, and then just kind of figure up like if they're actually making bank and pocketing it, or if even with Eververse they're still, just coasting. Because I feel like obviously a company's goal is to make money, and I'm never going to fault a company for wanting to make money. The thing I would fault them for is if they're making a shit ton of money and not using it to improve the game, at least somewhat more than it used to be. Obviously, even my estimates, that would mean literally nothing. There's probably a million different things, but and then I see people all the time right now. They're like, oh, and they just got like X $1 million investment, but what people keep leaving out of that narrative is that investment was to start on a new game, not just like, here, we're investing, here's some money. Like that money has nothing to do with Destiny as far as we know. What is it? NetEase?
Yeah, NetEase.
And I think I remember hearing it was about a mobile game too.
Yeah, I think Matter is the new IP that they're looking for a mobile game on.
Gotcha. But I don't know. There's you see two different narratives on Reddit. I'm on Reddit all the time. Some people are like, Bungie's a small indie studio. They need the money. Like, they're going to starve otherwise. And then the other people are like, Bungie's a multi-billion-dollar corporation that needs literally none of our money. And no one ever finds middle ground, which, of course, it's social media. But I would really like to know, like I was saying, just how much are they reinvesting right now? Like, they don't need to give us specific numbers, but are they like how he gave the example of how this cosmetic paid for Whisper of the Worm? Be like, all these sales we just did in Eververse last month, we're using that for something cool in the future. Like, just some info to be like, here's what it's being used for. We're not just pocketing Eververse on top of all the DLC and everything. Because even if they are, I'll still buy stuff from Eververse, but I would feel better if I knew it was going towards, cool stuff.
For the Iron Banner finisher, you can look in the API and find out exactly how many people bought it, and you can use that to find out how much they made. Well, not in profit, but how much just, overall they made. And someone posted that on Twitter.
I saw that.
It's like, I mean, at the time it was some like $200,000, and I think a lot of people went up in arms because they thought, oh, well, they're clearly making bank. They don't need any of this. But I think just a good way to kind of clarify a lot of this would be to just put in a TWAB or an article or whatever, like, hey, here's our breakdown of where Eververse actually goes to. Like, this much is for paying developers. This is for extra projects that Eververse goes into, And
I can tell you right now that $200,000 sounds like a lot, but that was also one of the more badass things I've seen in Eververse lately. So if it's going to get more people buying it, it was silver only, so no one's buying it with Bright Dust. And $200,000, that's maybe 2 developers' salaries for a year out of 500.
Yeah.
So like that does not go far. But
yeah, I mean, that's what I was thinking about. I was looking at So Bungie, when they released Destiny 1 back in 2014 or 2015, whenever it was, or 2013, it's been a while.
Destiny podcast, by the way.
Yeah, the original Destiny grossed $27.5 million in its first week or something like that. And so when I look at 27.5 million compared to 200,000, like, that's a big difference. And obviously they're a private company, so they don't have to reveal their sales numbers since they're not publicly traded. But the way I imagine it is the fact that Bungie's not, I'm not going to say Bungie's struggling on cash, but I'm also not going to be like they have a bunch of cash just sitting in the vault. Like, yep, we got all that sitting in there.
Well, and you can look at the player counts. It's no secret it's not nearly as high as it used to be. And hopefully, I think the big changer for that will actually be crossplay next year. I don't think this new expansion, like, it'll bring old players back, but I don't think it's gonna bring new players in any more than any other expansion would. But I think crossplay would be a big selling point. Like, I know a lot of people who are like, I'll be like, get Destiny. I play it freaking 100 hours a week. It's really good. And they'll be like, oh, well, I only have Xbox. Can I play with you still? And I'm like, nope. And they're like, yeah, I'm not interested then.
Yeah. That's a big part for bringing in, I think, as you said, especially old players that want to just get back into it when they don't. Because Destiny is such a game that immensely becomes so much easier to understand and progress in if you have a friend there with you to kind of guide you along the way.
Right.
And it's kind of built up this kind of odd, partially, I think, undeserved reputation as this weird hybrid, not really sure what it is, looter shooter that I think kind of stems from Destiny 1's awkward launch. And it, in almost every way has changed, but it's still this weird amalgamation in a lot of people that haven't tried it and in their perspective.
And I think the Eververse kind of keeps it a little weird too. Like, a lot of MMOs have something similar, but they also have other ways to obtain these things more so than we do.
Oh yeah,
I mean, I guess the big problem is there's just not enough stuff being put in, so it feels like it's all being put into Eververse because there's just not a lot of new sets of armor. Yeah. I mean, we didn't get a vendor refresh this last year, which I'm still, honestly, I don't get salty about a lot of things, but I was kind of salty about that. That bothered me a bit, because yeah, it's a lot of work for a vendor refresh on the artists, but on the other hand, like, that's a non-Eververse way of getting new cosmetic stuff. Well, armor, weapons, but I don't know. If there's not a vendor refresh this year, I'm gonna be a little more serious about, like, okay, maybe we shouldn't be getting a new Eververse set every season, and maybe there should be just a small vendor refresh of some sort, because I don't know. If there's nothing new, if there's literally one seasonal set of armor each season, that's not enough to keep people interested, because a lot of people don't care about, you know, the seals and the solo flawless attempts and stuff like that. They care about getting cool stuff. And if you can't get cool stuff for free and you can only pay for it, of course it's going to turn some people off.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's one of those things that when it comes to the vendors, I don't 100% understand what Bungie's necessary, like, what their struggles are with them. Why it seems like it's so hard to get vendor refreshes, especially in Destiny 2. But Destiny 1, we seem to get them all the time.
Yeah.
But in Destiny 2, it's felt like that we haven't gotten any at all. And really, I feel like we have a lack of vendors in the tower.
Oh yeah.
You know,
we're seeing 3 factions right off the bat.
That's what I'm saying. I go back to other MMOs, like in Star Wars: The Old Republic. There's one, you know, in the, like, main, like, fleet area. There's like over 300 vendors in one area, and they all do different things. Some of them are for abilities, some of them are for armor, some are for decorations. But then I go into Destiny, and I have, like, I think, 15 or 20 vendors in the tower max.
Way less than that, I think.
Not even that many, yeah. Especially since they've made factions useless, so even, like, the faction vendors. Like, I missed back in Destiny 1 when factions every single, I think it was season, right? They had new stuff, even though Taken King was kind of weird. But
the Dead Orbit stuff was always my favorite.
Yeah.
See, but that's what I liked, is the fact that it gave me a reason to get on every season and play and grind out the factions and do that type of stuff. And I'm not necessarily saying it wasn't a flawed system, but it was better than what we have now, which is keep churning in. I have over 1,000 Crucible tokens sitting in my inventory. I'm not going to do anything with those Crucible tokens because it's the exact same armor. I already have all this.
Yeah, I have 4,000 right now.
That's what I'm saying.
It's the same armor that's been reissued
Well,
since
and
when it was introduced, and all the vendors have a shared loot pool now. So
yeah,
there's almost vendors, I think, are at a really low point right now in terms of usefulness.
Oh, for sure.
And they've made even Rahul even less useful by cutting out the exotic engrams.
Right.
Because exotic engrams just immediately decode, so he's even become less useful than he used to be. And the prismatic recaster also made him less useful.
That really bothers me that you don't get to decode things with him. That was one of my favorite things to do in Destiny 1. Be like, all right, let's see how Rahul's gonna fuck me over this time.
Yeah, exactly. And they got rid of Rahul even having a rep. I don't get why they got rid of all the vendor reps. That doesn't even seem like a hard system to have in the game.
Well, a lot of them still have it. It's just not used.
It doesn't do anything at all.
Yeah, you can still see your reputation
for a weird arbitrary marker for when you can collect a package after you clicked twice.
Did you guys see? I know this, we're getting a little off topic for Eververse, so I'll pulse back in a minute. But did you guys see that Cosmo tweeted something about factions?
I didn't see that. I'll pull that up.
I don't watch Twitter.
Here, yeah, that's fair. A lot of people don't. I'll post it in the Twitch chat real quick. Yeah, it was a little vague. But I'm hoping maybe that means they're gonna finally do something with it. Anything at all, please. Because aren't most or all of them literally just sitting in the tower, not able to be interacted with?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think that
you can interact with them.
That was definitely, that was a faction thing. Which one is that? That's not Dead Orbit, is it?
Are you talking about the
Cosmo tweet?
Yeah, the one I just put in chat.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Weird. And he doesn't really say anything about it. I think that's kind of not a spoiler, but a hint that they're not, forgetting about it. But I don't know. My biggest thing for Eververse is put the cool new stuff in Eververse. That's fine. But the stuff that's out and we might never see back again, or we might, 10 seasons from now, just give to the vendors.
Yeah.
All this armor that's getting sunset,
monetization off of it.
right? All this armor that's getting sunset, slap a new power limit on it, give it to the vendors. God, I would grind so much to get a Leviathan set that wasn't going to be sunset and had mod slots, because I think the Leviathan set looks awesome.
I agree. It's just one of those things. I mean, just all the vendors feel useless to me.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of my reason for having lack of wanting to play the game right now. Because even with Solstice being out, I played a total of 1 hour.
Damn.
Just because it's like, yeah, there's armor I can grind for, and that's it. And the vendors still all have the same things. And Eververse has some new stuff that I don't really want to pay for because I'm not playing the game.
Right.
With the way that armor stats work with universal ornaments, it feels like Eververse has kind of a chokehold over anyone that really wants to care about how their character looks, but also wants to keep the armor that they care about. Because you can go into the dungeon and get the Dado armor that was supposed to be in Eververse, but thankfully they changed that and they moved it into an in-game reward. But if you don't get stats that you like, then you're probably not going to get to use it, or you'll choose not to.
And I think that's why everyone's holding their breath for transmog not being as hard as I'm kind of worried they're going to make it really hard to transmog a set of gear.
I don't want it to be Bright Dust.
They really need.
No, they said in game. Well, I guess it might be Bright Dust because they said in game effort or silver, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
the thing I'm most worried about though is that they're gonna make it so you have to reacquire a set. You can't pull from collections.
I know that they have that. Like they have the feedback that people want it to be able to pull, like from collections. They are very aware of that, and I don't think they have.
I mean, they're aware of a lot of things, but
yeah, they're not ready to give a definite yes or no, so people don't scrap any armor that they might need.
And that's the thing. My vault was full. I had to get rid of my armor first because there's a lot of guns I wanted to keep.
I've been getting rid of weapons because I really don't know what they're gonna do for transmog, so I'm just holding on to stuff.
Yeah, I'm hoarding all my raid sets.
And like anyone who's been in my streams know I have no problem buying some silver, and when it comes to transmog, I'll just use silver for all of it. But a lot of people don't have the money for that. What was that?
How much did you buy last time? Was it like 3 for?
Oh my god! Don't.
He spent $150 on
Don't listen.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Listen. So what happened was
an accident. But
I didn't have any silver. I didn't have any silver, and I wanted some of the new stuff from Solstice, and I added the $50 silver package to my cart. Hit checkout. Didn't look at any prices. Just went to pay. Apparently, I already had 2 other ones in my cart, so I paid for 3 of the $50 packs. So I am loaded on silver for the rest of the year for sure.
That's when you hit up Steam for a refund and say, "Oh, sorry, my son got a hold of my credit card."
Yeah, but at least he knows they won't have to buy silver come September.
Yeah, I'm gonna use it anyway, so might as well keep it. But that's I don't want to talk about. Oh, and I found out I have silver on Xbox that I never used, and it's weird that it doesn't sync between accounts. Like your silver balance on Xbox is different from the silver balance on Steam.
I guess it's because of different platforms, different payment methods.
Yeah, I guess that's true, but you'd think they'd be able. I mean, they can merge everything else.
It's really weird because I have like ornaments on Xbox that for some reason transfer over to PC, but I have stuff on PC that won't go to Xbox.
Huh. Interesting.
It's all jacked up. That's what we've learned here today.
I wish they kind of would have handled cross save a little better. There's been some really quirky things since that came out. But you know, I assume they were on a bit of a crunch. And you know, when you start adding things like Stadia, it gets a little extra fun. Did I tell you guys I tried playing Stadia when I was on vacation? And
yeah,
How did that go?
Okay, so it wasn't. I was like 3 rooms away from the Wi-Fi on my laptop using like the mouse pad, and I played a game of Crucible. And honestly, the worst part was the matchmaking, not playing the game itself.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Like the matchmaking takes a million years, but once you're in a game, it's really consistent. Like it feels fine.
Maybe I have worse. No, it's not I have really good Wi-Fi, but I tried playing Stadia because I was like, oh, I want to try this out, see if it's something I like. Partially because at the time I was thinking I was gonna be going to school in person. I was going to be going to college in person, so I was like, well, I want to be able to bring my laptop along with me because my laptop's not that great.
Right.
It's just a Chromebook. But I was like, I want to be able to bring my Chromebook and just, you know, play a little bit of Destiny or play with this or that, you know, while I'm waiting for a class to start. And I tried it on my computer, like on my big $2,000 PC, and it worked terribly.
Really?
Like, it was so laggy, it wasn't even funny.
Were you on Wi-Fi or LAN?
I was on LAN too.
Huh.
And that's why I was so confused. Is it was buggy, it was laggy, and I was like, oh, I don't want to play this. So I was like, I don't know, maybe it's just me.
I've had differing experiences. Like that time, it was set up perfectly for there to be lag, and there wasn't that much. But I was playing the other night on my what's it called? Chromecast, which is plugged right into the LAN, and I was lagging a bit. That's weird. Stadia is a weird thing. Hopefully xCloud's pretty good. Okay, we're getting really off Destiny here. So God, I don't want to wait till next week. Why don't we talk about events? Solstice.
We can talk about it a little bit. We can talk about events and then go into Solstice next week when everyone has it done.
Right. Yeah, that's fair. So I've only put down Destiny for one day since Solstice came out. I have
almost a day.
Yeah, yesterday I played a different game on stream. I have my Titan done, except it's not Masterworked because you want to wait to Masterwork them all at once. And I have my Warlock almost done. And it was a pain. The Titan was a pain. The Warlock actually not that bad with the 2x progression, and the Hunter's going to be super easy with 3x progression. But my biggest problem, I think, is there's not really a great reason to masterwork it. Like, you get the white glow, but I mean, it's, if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't, because the white glow is not universal. It's not a universal ornament. I mean, transmog whenever that happens, but like last year, I think if you got all 3 sets done, you got like a really cool Sparrow, and this year there's nothing like that. So
the reason they stated that there wasn't any in-game reward for completing all 3 was that people took issue with the fact that it would take really an incessant amount of playing to get all 3 done in the short amount of time that the event lasts. So
Right.
Instead, they took that reward and moved it into the glow that you don't have to pay for.
Right. Well, I think the solution in my mind would have been just have the 2x and 3x progression like they already do, and then leave that reward the same. It would have made it a lot easier to get. Like, I'm pretty sure once I get to doing my Hunter, I'll have the whole set done in a day. Like, it's super fast once you have that progression boost. Like, yeah, that first one's hard, but if you're doing the first one anyway for the glow, the second one's a little less hard. The third one's going to be just straight up easy. So I get why they did it. I just don't think it was necessarily the best choice.
I think if the white glow was instead an ornament, I really wouldn't have almost any problem with this event.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly.
If the white glow is an ornament, it'd be great because I think the white glow looks the best.
Yeah. I think the grind for the white glow is a good example of how an in-game effort should go towards something purely cosmetic.
Mm-hmm. Also, I want to say,
and if you want it to glow different colors, then you can pay for that.
I really like the idea of armor that upgrades as you complete objectives. I'd love to see more of that in like the base game.
Yeah,
I agree with you on that.
It's a cool idea.
Like,
so,
if you just condense those like greens into blues into purples, like we would have a lot less armor sets and they would just adapt and look cooler. I feel like that would be a fun thing to do. I don't know how difficult it would be, but like development wise.
Even with the white glow just as regular armor, like no ornaments or anything, I still think this is overall still a better event than Guardian games, just because I'm honestly right now struggling to remember why I did Guardian games. Other than
I can tell you why.
Like an emblem.
You did it for the exotic. That's why you did it.
See, I didn't do it, and I regret now because I didn't get the exotic.
You didn't get
it. It was one exotic, and the exotic is pretty cool, but why else? Like, as soon as you got heir apparent, there's no reason to keep going.
Oh no, there was none at all.
Excuse you. Like, what about the loyalty to your favorite class? Hello?
Yeah, there is no loyalty. that is the one thing I learned right there, because at first I was like, yeah, I'm only going to play on Warlock, duh. And then after literally one day on the event, I said, nope, I'm just want to get this done as quick as possible. I want to get the objectives done, so I'm just going to do it on all 3 characters.
Yeah.
But there's something I really, really liked about Guardian games that I haven't seen an event in Destiny do in this past year, which was the fact that it was something new that we had never had before.
That's fair.
That's true.
That's my problem. Because my problem with this event is Solstice of Heroes. You know, it came around last year, right before Shadowkeep. Whatever this expansion, whatever we're on right now. I don't remember. Shadowkeep, thank you. Right before Shadowkeep came around, at the end of Forsaken. And they were like, oh my gosh, you have to do this event. You know, if you complete the armor set and, you know, get all the purples, then you're going to get a free set of Armor 2.0 at the start of Forsaken and all this stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's going to be great because Armor 2.0 might be hard to get. They haven't really talked about it. So I'm going to grind the crap out of it, get all these armor sets and all 3 characters. And I did all of this. And then literally rolled up to the beginning of the expansion, and I used that armor for like the first 30 minutes until I got new armor that was better, and never went back to get that armor. I'm pretty sure that armor got deleted.
Mine got deleted, and there's no way to get it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I deleted that armor.
That's one of the transmogs I would have wanted.
Yeah, exactly. And now I'm at a point to where this year it feels like the exact same thing. They're like, well, do the armor, you know, it's going to look cool and everything, and then I'm never going to use it again.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I'm refusing to do this event, is because at least like with Guardian games, it was something new. It was something we had never seen before, and it brought an exotic. Now, if you only went up to the exotic and that was it, okay, cool. You know, it's just I get tired of repeated events, of seeing the same thing over again with virtually no reward.
Mm-hmm.
So
I wouldn't mind if it was the same event but with better loot.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with a free event being the same as last year. I think I do have a problem. Like, next year's Guardian games, I think has to change. I think there has to be some other reward other than just one really cool item that you get, and that's about it. There should be just something else there.
The thing about this year's loot with Solstice, I don't mind. In fact, I like the idea of getting random rolls on the armor. The issue is you get so much trash through those packages before you get random rolls. Like, I feel like the chance to actually get a random roll on that armor after you've unlocked that part is still really low, and you're getting a ton of blues in its place.
Yeah. Having blues in the pool was a really bad idea.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I don't understand why it's there.
I thought I did something wrong when I unboxed my first one. I got a blue scout.
Same.
I thought my loot went to my postmaster.
It's just world drops is what it is.
Yeah. It's about as efficient for farming armor as doing Crucible.
Right.
And it's the exact same rewards.
I mean, really, the most efficient way to farm armor right now, at least in my opinion, is Umbro Engrams and focusing them.
Yeah,
because you're guaranteed to get legendaries.
Yeah.
And you can even control what type of gear you're going to get.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's just... Oh.
It's like the archaic, like older way of farming armor that hasn't really transitioned well into this new era where we have umbrals and we have so much more agency over focusing, and this just hasn't translated to that.
And I refuse to believe that Bungie's just overlooking this. I think their development time after hearing feedback is so long that they'll hear feedback about how much we hate blues a year ago, and we'll still be getting activities that give us a ton of blues. Like, I mean, they basically said as much. Like, their development cycle is so long. Like, I think it was back when everyone was super happy about the menagerie. They're basically like, we hear this, we're going to put more menagerie type things, but it's going to be a while. Like,
yeah, exactly.
And I think we're getting to that point now. Thank goodness. Like, the Umbral Engram system is great. I think I still technically prefer menagerie. But it's good right now. It's not as bad as it used to be to try to get, you know, random rolls on stuff. Sorry, I'm opening the Eververse right now because I remember seeing something that I wanted to talk about.
This is something from Solstice specifically?
I don't remember. I was looking at it earlier today. Oh.
And that...
what would you guys think if they kept Eververse exactly the same as it is, including how the bright dust economy worked, but they moved shaders, ghost projections, and the things you get when you fly in, whatever those are called?
Transmat effects.
Yes. Those were all earnable in-game or world drops of some sort.
I mean, those things kind of are through bright engrams. Granted, they are very rare.
Yeah. Well, what I'm saying is I see a lot of shaders I like, and I'm spending bright dust on them. I see a lot of, well, not so much the ghost things, but the transmat effects, and I'm spending bright dust on them.
Oh, like the stuff that's in like the bright dust section of the
yeah
page. Yeah. Okay, I see.
Like, it feels like things that wouldn't be. There's so many shaders. Like, I don't feel like it would be a big deal to put those in the game. Like, are they really going to be losing out that much when they're doing that?
I mean, if I'm being honest with you, I think the best rework Eververse could have would be just getting rid of bright dust overall. Just getting bright dust out of the game. Take everything that's in the bright dust section and throw that into aspirational content. and then leave the silver section so they're still making their money. You know, they can have the silver, they still make their money off of that. But if you put all the stuff that's Bright Dust exclusive into aspirational content, that gives me something to grind for that not only looks cool, but it's also something I can show off. Versus, you know, and that gives me a reason to go play the new activity besides, oh, well, I want to get the max power. That's my big problem right now, is that we are too focused on just, well, you want to be higher power, right? Why? I mean,
No.
I'm at 1057 right now.
No.
I don't care if I don't care if I hit 1060 this season.
The only problem I would see with that is the fact that they now have emotes and weapon ornaments for Bright Dust.
I mean, well, like emotes. Look at one of the coolest emotes was from the Leviathan raid. You know, where you're drinking your wine, laying back, and that was straight out of a raid.
Right.
Well, I mean, and why haven't the rest of the raids had an exclusive emote like that? You know, there's so many cool things they could have added in. Sparrows, things like that we see in sparrows. I'm going all over the place. I'm tired. But I'm thinking like exotic ornaments. Oh my gosh, the divinity ornament shouldn't come from the Eververse store. The divinity ornament
should come from a challenge.
Should come from the raid. Yeah, completing all the challenges. That should maybe what you get, maybe, or I mean, like, at least one of them shouldn't. Like, there should be at least one that comes from the raid. They shouldn't all be locked behind the Eververse store.
I guess at the very least, it'd be cool if you got some sort of cosmetic when you completed a seal.
Exactly. And they sort of added that in a little bit with the Moments of Triumphs, but it was all old stuff that it was like, well, we're going to make it super easy for you to get because...
Well, they kind of added that with the Triumph Tall. The X marks the spot thing that I still don't have.
Oh, I got it.
I'm missing like 4 triumphs.
Yeah, and it's just little things like that I wish that they would focus on. You know, I don't really care for Bright Dust because I don't want to farm it, because I don't care about cosmetics as much to farm Bright Dust, just because I don't want to sit there and farm bounties all day. I think bounties are honestly a really big disservice to the game right now.
Right.
Because it's like, how do I level up quickest? Oh, do bounties. How do I get Bright Dust? Oh, do weekly bounties.
I guarantee they've heard our insanely negative
really
feedback on that, and they're going to change it eventually.
Yeah.
That's why I think when they say they're reworking the Bright Dust economy, I think it's just going to come from something other than bounties. I don't think we're going to get a different amount weekly.
Yeah, probably. I mean, but you should get Bright Dust for completing Crucible games. Like, I don't get that. You know,
I mean, heck, if you got one Bright Dust, like those of us who grind out those games, I mean, it eventually add up.
Yeah, but I mean, like, even if you got 10 Bright Dust per activity completed, like Crucible and strikes, you get 10 Bright Dust for completing a strike, and you know that's 10 Bright Dust every 10. You know, it's approximately 10 Bright Dust every 10 minutes, so 60 Bright Dust an hour. You know, if you're just playing the game casually, you're gonna get Bright Dust over time, and then obviously add some ways to get it if you're like, well, I really, really want to grind for this. But it's just one of those things.
Right. And then the whole consumables thing is really weird. Like, it is 500 Bright Dust for the Gleaming Boon of the Crucible. Something that gives everyone a really crappy
reward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's like a 1% chance that it opens up as an exotic, and even then it's not an actual exotic, but it's like an exotic from the Eververse store.
I think it'd be cool.
I don't know if that's in the game anymore.
I think it'd be cool if we got random consumable that was new, and it didn't come from buying it or anything in the Eververse, obviously. Like, you kill a boss or something, you might get, we'll just call it a vial of Bright Dust or something. Or no. Just some way to earn Bright Dust that's RNG, and like you're like, man, I just found out this really cool way to get Bright Dust. Let's grind this Grandmaster Nightfall over and over. Okay, that's not a cool way to do it. Never mind.
No,
I take that back.
They even said themselves Grandmaster Nightfalls aren't meant to be grinded.
Yeah, and then
they're like, this is a one-time thing.
The streamers laugh in their face.
Yeah. Well, except for on the one from 2 weeks ago. Corrupted. Everybody was like, I did that once and that was it.
I think Festering Cores next week. That's going to be a pain in the ass.
Yeah, hopefully they fixed it.
Games this season. period.
I decided I'm going to get Conqueror this season.
Oh, no.
Yep. I'm going to do it.
It's not worth it.
I'm going to do it.
Oh, this season's... I'm not helping you with that. I'm sorry. I suffered through it last season, and this season's even worse.
Listen.
I want it, but at the same time, I really don't want it.
The Festering Core and the Corrupted are going to be the only ones that are going to make me want to stop. The other ones aren't going to be that bad. I mean, I can't even think of any other strikes that would be that bad.
I don't know. I mean, at least with the Corrupted, I mean, one way to make it easier is there's like the glitch where if you hold on to the ball all the way through, then you can throw it at the boss from really far away and just snipe her until she gets really low health. But outside of that, yeah, not worth it.
Maybe you get an emblem for killing the boss with the balls. Boom, in-game cosmetic reward.
I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, just little things like that. And like emblems, I mean, some of them look really, really cool, but you cannot tell me that those things are hard to make.
No, I mean, there's
because
no way.
They're two-dimensional pictures that are very small, and I guarantee you, if with some of the more experienced people, it takes them like working at Bungie, it takes them probably like an hour to make a new emblem, as long as they got like a general idea of what they're going for.
Right, and it doesn't take take like lore or anything.
No, just like
I don't think we have any kind of shortage of emblems.
That's what I'm saying too.
But we could always have more. That could be a really easy and cheap way to give us something like strike specific loot. Like you do this strike and you have a chance to get this emblem that is specific to this strike. Like I'd do it.
We already kind of have that though, don't we? Just from the Nightfalls.
I guess that's true. Well, do the new ones have them? I thought I heard like the one that came in Shadowkeep. I thought that didn't have anything.
I don't remember.
Oh, you mean like the actual like Nightfall drops? I meant like the Nightfall emblems.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's fair, I guess.
I don't know. It was just really disappointing that there was no aspirational content in the Nightfalls anymore. It's like, so you get cool gear and that's it. There's no emblems, or there's emblems still, but there's no sparrows, no ships, no emotes. No nothing.
I don't really get why they're... I mean, there's a few sparrows that I've seen in the Eververse. I'm like, damn, that is a premium sparrow. I will pay for that. Mm-hmm. But most of the time, it's kind of junky.
Yeah, exactly. Opinion, it's like, well, that's in game.
All the sparrows are like this weird, like a box, like design, and I just don't think they look good at all.
Yeah,
like, you know what I'm talking about? Like all of them have been like the same design.
Well, like, I think this season's been pretty good. Like this season, they had ones that had like moving parts and stuff too.
Yeah, galvanic fork.
Yeah,
looks great.
I mean, I just wish the sparrows they would get
photo cycle
creative.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, photo cycle.
Yeah, it's the one that's got like a projection on it.
Oh yeah. Oh, I wish they would get more creative with sparrows too, and that could be like an Eververse thing to start out with. Mm-hmm. Like, one of the things I thought of, I was thinking of this while playing another game, is what if in Destiny one of the sparrows was like a Vex harpy that you're riding on top of?
That'd be kind of cool.
Like that's your sparrow.
They experimented with this with the micro mini. People would pay so much money for ridiculous sparrows.
I'm saying, I mean, like, imagine you could ride on top of a Vex harpy, or like have like a fallen captain that you're piggybacking on top of.
Exactly, and like all these other MMOs have these hilarious mounts, but not Destiny.
I mean, oh my gosh, like, I'm always gonna go back to like Star Wars: The Old Republic. You have one to where your character's laying down and has a floating grape thing next to them, and they literally pick the grapes, eat them. As they're flying. Like they shoot them up in the air and catch them in their mouth. They have one to where you ride on top of a Rancor. That came with the new event too. That was an event. Like anybody could get it. You just have to play the game. It's just little things like that. And it's like, yeah, that's a premium item. But they made that open for anybody to get. All you had to do is play the game and get these little tokens that would drop from enemies, and then go to the casino, turn them in. And then you would get these like golden certificates. Like it was a grind, but you could get it.
Am I the only one that thinks ships have been really boring for a couple seasons now?
They most definitely have.
There's been a few exceptions. Like the one that's in Eververse right now for this event with the cracks in it is gorgeous. But a lot of them are just really similar shapes. Like I remember in Destiny 1, you used to look at people's ships. You'd be like, damn.
Yeah.
But now
a lot
these
of the
days,
ships are based on the same model, just with some different textures on them.
Right.
Which is unfortunate, but I do think that things are getting better in that regard. I'm trying to recall the ships from the last couple seasons. All I'm remembering right now is just the dozens and dozens of purple ships from like earlier, like year 1 and year 2. That are all the exact same models.
Season 8. So I'm looking through collections right now. Season 8 has a lot of really good ones, and then 9 and 10 and 11 are just kind of eh. Like season 8 had the one that looked like it was from the new strike.
Yeah, the Shadowkeep strike.
And then it had the one that was like basically looked like a Vex head. And then the one that looked like it was straight out of Garden, which honestly should have been out of Garden.
Should have been out of Garden, just like the one should have been out of the Nightfall. Even though, like I said, they're changing that, but that's all Eververse's problem. Is it feels like all the cool stuff goes to Eververse, and then we get like little sprinkling into everywhere else.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We get the leftovers, like the one thing that the one dude kind of started designing and then decided it wasn't cool enough, and then they're like, you know what, just throw it in the game anyways. Just put it in that strike over there.
Yeah.
You know.
I have liked the silliness they're going for with ghosts these days.
Oh my gosh, it's great. See, and I feel like that might be a stepping stone towards what we were talking about, of making more things, like more of the cosmetics silly.
Well, like the cottontail shell, I want that so badly.
Oh,
go earn it.
It doesn't even have guiding light, but I'll run it. Like, that one you can earn. That is good. But I want more of it. Like it's just, it's funny.
It's cool because it's nice having this stuff that you can show people, and especially with some of these funny things, like more funny items. I mean, if they didn't want to put that in Eververse, if they wanted to throw that into an event, that could always be something you could show off to somebody. Like, oh my gosh, look at me, me riding a Vex Harpy, and then they're like, oh my gosh, that's kind of dope, bro.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, where do I get that? And it's like, well, you got to go grind the strike. Oh, okay.
Right, and like Luke Smith was like, coming up, there's going to be things. It's going to be. He was basically talking about how they're adding FOMO because it's like you had to be there, but it's like, man, I would really love to ride that Harpy. Where'd you get that? Oh, had to be there.
Had to be there.
That'd be pretty cool, honestly. Like, because I mean, right now, who's actually saying, "Oh man, you had to be there when the Almighty got shot down"? Like,
it's a cool event.
It was cool, but now you can just watch it on YouTube. So like,
you can get the same effect from being there as watching it on YouTube. Like,
God, that was a long hour and a half, wasn't it?
I think that was a big achievement for Bungie being able to do.
Oh, it was, and like I'm glad they tried that.
Simultaneous instances everywhere.
They should have sent out a thing like the event starting at noon.
Yeah, like a little banner over the tower emblem from the director.
Yeah, right.
And then, like something like, but the actual
or just a straight up countdown.
The main event is gonna start at 12:45, or like 1:45. I wish they would have done that so I didn't have to sit there for 2 hours wondering when it was gonna happen.
Right.
Well, it would have been cool if you could go to like a Rasputin bunker and he has like a countdown and like shows him like locking on with like every missile across the ship and everything.
Or I'm just thinking like the in-game like chat where it shows you like buffs and stuff like T- whatever to launch.
Mm-hmm.
Like Anna Bray telling you.
Yeah. Eyes up, Guardian.
I wish they would have done that just a little bit, because like I said, it was a cool event. It just was way too long.
Right.
It was like, what was way cooler is going on, like some people did YouTube where like they made the entire event, like put into like a little 2-minute footage, so you just saw the missiles going at it, and then like put the end cut scene at normal speed.
Right.
So like that was pretty cool because it was like that felt like what it should have been. Not sitting there for hours.
And like you were saying about, it's probably not too hard to make an emblem. It wouldn't have been too bad to give everyone some kind of emblem for that, like the Almighty on fire in an emblem or something. Like,
I mean, there was an emblem.
We got an emblem, but
we got an emblem.
Yeah, if you go and inspect like where the big chunk of the Almighty like crashed in the tower and there's rubble, you got an emblem. But it's just, I think it's just like the Rasputin logo on a gray background. Yeah. It's not really, I mean, in my opinion, that special or interesting to look at.
Let's see if I have that now.
You might have it. If you don't, I'm pretty sure you can still get it.
What it was Seraph's Wings,
Seraph's Wings. Yeah,
I have that. Yeah, that was kind of lame actually.
Yeah.
For such an incredible event, you'd think there'd be something a little bit more related to it.
Right.
I mean, I wish they would have like stuff like that with those emblems. I wish they would have made it to where like that emblem was available for like an hour, like to collect it from the crash site for like an hour after the event ended.
Right.
And then
had to be there.
Yeah, and then after that, that was it. Like, because I only say like an hour because, well, maybe like your internet cuts out or whatever. Or even like, for that day, just that 24 hours, and that's it. So if you weren't on in that 24 hours, it's like, well, you missed it, but it's just an emblem, so you didn't miss out on much. Like, that's my thing, is that when it comes to cosmetics, I have no problem with FOMO when it comes to cosmetics. Well, you weren't there. It's only with, like, actual in-game items, like exotics is what
I have the problem for that one emote I really want and never got, but besides that.
And Fellwinters.
Okay, don't even get me started on Fellwinters. I'm so mad. That better come back into the loot pool eventually.
It will in like a year, but by then you'll get something awesome in Beyond Light, and no one's gonna care about Fellwinters. Hopefully, at least
it'll be Lord of Wolves version 2.
Yeah.
Dear God, not again.
Oh my gosh! If you want a great video on Fellwinters, though, you can go watch Dr. John on YouTube.
I did actually. I did watch your video.
Yeah. I actually have yet to check.
I think I commented on that one actually.
I
disliked it.
The Sonic Challenge.
The Sonic Challenge, yeah, that was a good one.
Which I was missing Maida, as Nick pointed out to me later. I wasn't thinking
the first thing I noticed. You can't be maximum speed without it. You need
damn fast enough.
You're not fast enough.
So events. I'm actually fairly looking forward to the Halloween event, even if it's a copy paste, with the assumption that there will be a couple new masks. I love the masks so much. Like, the masks to me are just fun. Like, I still put masks on sometimes.
Can I transmog a mask?
I mean, you can reacquire it.
Ooh.
See, that would be interesting.
Oh, wait.
I mean, yeah, but...
Oh, you can only reacquire some of them. Weird.
Yeah, you can. Some of them you can't, which is weird. But I like the masks, too. And I still feel like that the masks from D1 were better than D2.
Yeah.
I don't really remember the D1 masks.
The D1 masks were better.
I remember I had a Crota mask. Like, because, like, I had a Crota mask, and I used to put on the... I forget the name of the shader, but it was the one from the Crota's End raid that made you, like, the same color as Crota. And you'd be like running in Crucible, and all I would use is a sword the entire time because I was like, I'm Crota, right? And I would straight up just, work with my ice cream cone.
I really like the triumphs they had for that event too. Like, you had to jump off the towers, Atheon, and that kind of stuff.
Right?
Remember that?
Yep.
Yes.
If I could transmog the Crota mask, I would absolutely never ever take it off. So I would have no reason to.
The Skull Lost mask.
Oh, look at that! Look at that! It's Colonel.
It's fun. That's the fun stuff.
And I wish we got it for more than just masks.
Oops.
Let's get it for like armor pieces too.
Yeah.
Raid challenges.
I thought the masks were transmog. I didn't realize they weren't. Or not transmog. I thought they were ornaments.
Ornaments?
Yeah.
Nope.
They're like their own items.
Better be able to transmog that. They're not even in that part of collections. They're not in armor. They're in like flare or whatever. So.
They probably won't.
Or maybe that's how they'll advertise this Halloween. The new masks you get will be transmog.
They probably will.
I mean, it'd be a good selling point. It's not long after that Beyond Light comes out.
Yeah.
Have they said what D1 raid they're bringing back first?
It is going to come out before Beyond Light. I didn't even think about that.
Yep.
Oh.
Like, I think it'll end 2 weeks before Beyond Light comes out.
Yeah. I mean,
there's no one that's going to be playing in that 2 week span. Everyone has got to put it down.
I mean,
yeah.
If they give me something to do, I'll play.
I mean, I haven't just been playing this event because I have no reason to, because I know I'm not going to use the armor. But we'll see. It's crazy. That. Oh,
We've got, what is it, 2.5 months to go now? Yeah. No, or is it 3 months? God. Is it 3 months?
I think it's 3 months.
August.
A little under 3 months.
We've got a whole season to go, boys.
Oh. All right, we can do it.
We can do it. I mean, it's a good time to play other games. Like,
that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Join me.
You keep talking about the Old Republic. You're going to convince me to try it.
I have been playing it with you. Heck, I have been playing so much of Star Wars: The Old Republic, and the thing is, they have some like really interesting features. Like, so if you subscribe to the game for 1 month, you go from being a free-to-play stat, like, and then cancel it after that. You would go from free-to-play, and then when you're subscribed, you're premium, and then after that, you go to preferred. And at the preferred status, you can do a lot of things that premium people can. You're still capped on certain things, but it's like you get access to all the DLCs that the game has ever released for forever on that account. Whenever you just buy premium for 1 month.
That'd be a good system to have in Destiny.
Yeah, and it's crazy. And so you get access ever released up and from when you bought it. So like if a new DLC comes out, you don't have access to that. You got to buy premium again for a month. But like it's super great then because you can is right now I have like 7 characters in the game. You know, Destiny I have 3 characters. On SWTOR, I got 7 characters in the game, and some of them are really low, but I got a few that I'm getting up really high, and I'm just starting on DLC stories right now, and the stories are like 70-hour stories. Like they're not like Destiny where it's like, yeah, I completed it this afternoon. No, right. I've sat there for like 5-6 hours on end and been like, I didn't even get off this planet today.
Are they actually still making content for that?
Yeah, they are. The new DLC released like 3 months ago or 4 months ago.
Oh damn!
And there's an event going on right now, which is like this high life event. It's been going on for like a month now, which is like a casino based event. And there's strongholds in the game where you can like show off all your cosmetic items, which a lot of your cosmetic items you have to do very specific events to get these certain items that then you can put in your stronghold and then invite your friends to your stronghold to get to see your items.
What I'm hearing here is just a lot of stuff that would make me upset that Destiny doesn't have.
Pretty much. Why do you think I'm
pretty upset?
I'm refusing to play Destiny right now is because I've been playing Star Wars: The Old Republic, which I love Star Wars too. Right. And it's like I don't want to go back and play Destiny where I'm gonna go and just play Strikes and Crucible and That's try fair. To complete this title when I can go over here and just start a new character and start on a new storyline because there's 8 storylines because there's 8 different classes and then there's subclasses in those classes. So, and each class has its own story with its own exclusive planets.
I wish Destiny had something that dove deeper into Hunters, Titans, and Warlocks. Like that'd be so cool if they each had their own like starting thing at the very least for New Light.
I mean, that's what I was thinking about. Is the one thing I'm sad about the fact that we're not getting a Destiny 3 is that means that there's really no chance at any addition of one, we're not going to ever get a huge influx of new players because there's not going to be a new release, and we're big game changing things like possibly the addition of a new class to the game we're not going to see at all.
Right. It wouldn't happen with them. It wouldn't happen with them restricting us to 3 characters anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and they're weird about their 3s.
Yeah, on the bright side, we still have subclasses, and we're going to be getting the new set of subclasses with Stasis in the fall or in November.
And a rework to how the subclasses work, so hopefully they'll be a little less uniform.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's just one of those things. I think I was talking about this in a previous podcast. Of I just wish I wouldn't have a problem with it being like you're more specific on your classes. Like you're a solar titan, that's it. But like you have a very specific skill tree that's a lot bigger than it is now, but you can have more than 3 characters. That, like I said, I was talking about earlier, I wouldn't have a problem with that. And I just realized we are very off topic. This has nothing to do with Eververse, but it is fun to talk about.
Yeah.
Because you're teasing us with all these great features in Star Wars.
Yeah,
You're gonna get us hooked on that, and then we're gonna have to start a podcast on that when we all get addicted to it.
The problem is we'll have nothing to talk about because we can't.
Because the game's just great.
The game is great.
No issues, no podcast needed.
Yep. We're just gonna talk for 2 hours about how much we love Star Wars: The Old Republic, and how bad Destiny is.
I mean, we basically do that anyway, so.
Yeah.
Destiny podcast, by the way.
Yeah.
But see,
Could
the
you
only
imagine?
reason why I do that is because Bungie called Destiny an MMO. That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get them wanting to be an MMO, FFO, what the fuck, an MMO, but like they shouldn't have even used that word until they got a lot further into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they even
you
get
know-
into it, it is still a first-person shooter, 90%. Like,
I mean, because Destiny pretty much decided that it wanted to be its own thing, to where it wanted to be an MMO RPG FPS, which really outside of Destiny doesn't exist.
Could you call Borderlands that?
A little bit. Yeah, I guess Borderlands
you'd-
would fall into
you
it.
definitely
but
could.
I mean,
no,
Borderlands is more like
yeah.
restriction on
But-
like class like Destiny, but they have a way bigger loophole and like more aspirational content.
if I'm correct, Borderlands doesn't have near as big of like the massively multiplayer online part of it. Like
No.
they're
No.
not.
There's
Yeah,
just a
they're
lot of
more of an
story.
RPG, if
Yeah.
anything, right?
yeah, they're
Yeah.
more of a first-person RPG.
But that's the thing is that Destiny just it needs more. If they want to call themselves an MMO, they need more MMO features. One of the things that they definitely need to add are, I don't know how hard it is because I don't understand, like servers and everything, but they need dedicated servers so we can have tower instances. We need a bigger social space with more vendors and
Didn't they-
point of like 45 people in a tower.
Am I just imagining this, or didn't they straight up say dedicated servers aren't going to happen?
I think
they
they
think
said-
they have said that. There's a really great video about how Destiny's networking architecture actually works from a really old developer conference. I think like
There's
2015.
there's definitely pros and cons to peer-to-peer versus dedicated servers, but the game Destiny's trying to be needs dedicated servers more than it needs peer-to-peer.
At the
Yeah.
very least, it needs dedicated servers on its main social spaces. I don't know if you're able to
Well-
like switch back and forth in the middle of a game.
I'd say at
But
the
if-
very least have dedicated servers for PvP content.
Yeah. Their
That-
vision for social spaces and patrol spaces where anyone can walk in on a public event and see a bunch of people there hanging out, grinding, doing whatever. And it's all just very kind of fluid. Everyone just kind of shares this big open area. Kind of throws a wrench into a lot of other areas in the game.
Yeah. I mean, it is cool, but it would be way more interesting. Like I think we were talking about the last podcast. Like they just need to do something more there.
Yeah.
But if they properly utilized peer-to-peer networking and they didn't make us hurt so much to want dedicated servers, no one would really care. Like, I think the big issue is we don't get much cool stuff necessarily that we, care for with peer-to-peer, but we get a lot of pain from not having dedicated.
Kind of, yeah. And it's one of those things to where like tower instances are limited to 16 people, I think it is, which is, not even 3 full fire teams. And it's like I would like to be able to have a much bigger tower instance where I can meet a lot more people. And
Yeah.
that might sound kind of weird, but I look at other games of its type, and it's like I go into there and I see like 40 people all like just sitting around having fun, and I'm like, I wish Destiny had more of that. The fact of like more to do in the social spaces, like we don't have like any type of like cantina or like a bar or something, or like at the ramen shop. Oh my gosh, there's so much potential that they could have done with the ramen shop as like a dedicated social space where you can find fire teams, you can just chill out and relax and like show off your emotes, things like that. And as like even for like a place for like people who like to make like the little Destiny films and things like that, like just a nice little another space they can have. And I just wish we had more of that. It's more of that social space. And I feel like that wouldn't even be that hard to make.
I don't mind the current player limit in the size tower we have, but I do agree it would be cooler if we had a bigger space that allowed more players. Like right now, like I can't even remember what game I'm thinking of, but I remember at some point I've played a game where you do go into one of those social spaces and like there's people just standing on top of people on piles and piles of people, and I felt like it was more interesting to me, at least in Destiny 1 and 2, that you could just see a few people. You could easily read everyone's names. You're like, I do this all the time. I'll be like, oh, that person has a really cool name. And then you can interact with a select few amount of people. But if they did have some big, like something the size of a patrol zone, but a social space, I mean, really, I guess the farm's pretty big. A lot of open space.
Yeah, the farm is really big. And the farm, I'm so like disappointed with the farm because it's such a cool area. I forgot why I was there. I think I was like making a video or something. And the farm, I forgot about all the cool like hidden features of the farm. And the fact that it's also the only place left that soccer still works. Like taking soccer out of the tower, I think was a really big disservice to the hangar, because that just made the hangar even more useless for me. And even though not a lot of people played it, it's just like little stuff like that that just adds in. It adds in like making the space feel more real. And I think we talked about this also.
More alive.
Yeah, it's the fact that it doesn't feel alive. Yeah, sure, I see like the one lady like, attention, people of the tower, talking to the people, and then you have like the dead orbit ship that comes down every once in a while, and like picks up the people, and they literally just run, and then they run back to the ship, and then it takes off. And it's just like, I wish there was more to do outside of, well, this is just the place where you're gonna go pick up bounties and leave.
Right. And they're starting to add a little bit more, I've noticed. So like Zavala's office is still open, even though you can't get the 4 horsemen. And like that's nice and all, but when they started taking things out, like for like you said, soccer in the hangar, like it's like, why would I go there now? Especially unless I'm playing trials.
Which I'm not going to be playing trials. That's for damn sure.
And I feel like I think part of the big thing I hate about the tower right now is, for some of the vendors, you have to run so far to get to them, but it's like a pain. Like I feel like that area where you spawn in and right behind you is just that open air and you see people's ships. I think that'd be cool if there was like 3 vendors lined up right there, ones that we visit commonly.
That'd be cool. Or at least have like some sort of way to get around faster.
More fast travel spots.
Either fast travel spots or like the ability to use like mounts or like sparrows in the social space. Oh God,
sparrows in the tower, yes, please.
They just have to make that. See, like, if they made the tower bigger, we could have sparrows in the tower, and then that would also, allow us to have a harpy sparrow where I run around the tower riding a harpy, talking to all the vendors. See, that would make me. That's just like those little things that it's like. And the thing is that if you make like a YouTube video on that, because people are gonna make YouTube videos on that. People are gonna see that and go, "Oh my gosh, this game looks kind of cool. I want to try it out. I want to ride this random creature that I've never seen before."
Yeah.
Versus, it's like now it's like, so, guys, my name is Dr. John. We're just gonna be running over to Zavala real quick to pick up some bounties, and then we got to go to the Drifter because we need to pick up the prismatic recaster. But we're just gonna fast travel to that. Yeah, see, versus, hey guys, this is Dr. John. I have a sparrow that's a harpy, and I'm gonna be riding it around the tower to show off to everybody how cool I am, because I did this raid over here that gave me this sparrow. I did it 15 times and completed all the challenges on it. So you should definitely join me on that. It's just a difference.
If they added sparrows to the tower, it would be my sole mission to push everyone on my fire team off constantly.
Absolutely, that was my first thought.
Just try not to die doing it yourself.
Just have the whole sparrow section, like, it's just underneath. Like, you go through a tunnel, you take a ladder, you go through a chute, whatever. Now you're on, like, the sparrow highway beneath the tower where you zip across from hangar to drifter.
It would be insanely cool to just have a small, quote unquote, sparrow racing track in the tower.
Oh,
Like it just
gosh,
does
that
a
would be
circle around the
nice.
tower a little
Like
bit.
having you could do that in the farm, like having like a dirt track through
around the
woods.
outside of the farm. Yeah.
Well, that'd be a
That would
cool way to
actually-
travel too. Like, not only is it like a track of its own, but it has like stops where you can get off. You're like, I can either go on this full fun loop at the tower, or I can get off after one stop, and it's where Trials is at. Like, it'd be a more fun way to go around than fast traveling or running for 60 seconds.
So this sort of brings up a question of, should Destiny have zones that are exclusive to one person? Like, so in like Star Wars The Old Republic, on your character, you go through like these zones that are like green, and when you go through it, you go into your own instance so that way you can be like personalized, like for whenever you want to get on. They do it for story missions a lot. But like if you ever want to get on a like into your ship is in its own instance on its own, like just sitting there that you go inside of it. Like, do you think they should do that for Destiny?
So kind of like what
like
they do
a
with
home
cutscenes
area
right
where
now.
Yeah, like so where like you can load into a certain zone and you can like see your ship there sitting in the hangar, and like you can board onto your ship, and then it does the cutscene to take off.
Am I just
don't think
high,
we
or
have
did we
enough
have that in
stuff.
D1 where you load
When-
into the tower and your ship was right there, like every time?
I mean, like in D2,
I mean,
you see
every once in a while you see your ship fly behind you. I don't
Like,
think
it just-
currently we have enough stuff to justify having our own little area. Like if we had like a lot more like decorations and cosmetics and stuff that we could show off, then maybe. But right now, I don't see
You could though.
enough value.
Having
Well, yeah, we
guns,
could.
you put them on like display. You can have seals.
we really
Sparrows,
should
Wall
ships.
seals.
they should add in like some type of stronghold into the game to where like it's your own personal zone that you get to decorate with cosmetic items, and that would give them an easy way to add in cosmetic items into the game as aspirational content. Be like, well, this is my trophy for completing. You could have like your in-game trophy for completing the raid in the first 24 hours, or like something on your wall in your stronghold. So you can have like your trophy room for doing things, and like whenever somebody visits your stronghold, they're like, oh, how'd you get that? Oh, well, that was when me and my fire team, we completed this raid. And that'd be something super easy for Bungie to do, in my opinion, that they already kind of do now, just as something to have in game to show, hey, I did the raid in the first 24 hours. That's a big accomplishment for a lot of people, including me. I haven't done it yet. And
or something probably much easier to develop, but would be interesting, is if you could expand people's profiles and they could have like featured stats that they're really proud of.
Oh, that'd be cool too, because like they started that with the emblems, but you can only feature one and only on certain emblems.
And don't you have to like hover over it to even tell what it is most of the time? Or...
Otherwise, you just see like a timer or a number.
Right. So like when you inspect someone's profile, if I remember correctly, there's a ton of empty space when you like fully inspect someone, or not inspect someone. Like when you're looking at you get all the options like promote to leader, etc. Have something there where they can feature just like 3 of their coolest emblems or stats. Be like,
view player career.
Yeah,
Like,
that'd be
see
cool.
all their greatest accomplishments.
I mean, hell, if Overwatch can do it, Destiny can do it.
Yeah, pretty much. You can show off that I had 110 kills in a Crucible match at Anime.
All the sweats could show off glory, KD, number of flawless tickets, all in one little area.
But yeah, it'd be cool. But I just wish that
I'd throw up my
was,
1/7 column to flex on anime.
God,
I just wish I had like a space that was mine that I could show off to other people in Destiny, because then, like I said, it would give me a reason to want to grind the game and really put time into getting cosmetics beyond just the normal, and like have them on different locations. Obviously, like in the tower, have an apartment in the city.
Yeah.
To where like you can play like you're away from the tower. That would also make my guardian feel like I'm not so much of a like outsider to the city, because that's one of the things I really I think it's kind of part of the game, but I feel like outside of Scourge of the Past, we never go inside of the city, and it feels like, yeah, we're humanity's protectors, but like we're not human. Like, we're not the same as them. You know, we protect them, but we don't.
I think you said this last podcast. We should just have one DLC in the city.
Yeah, I remember that conversation.
Should. We most definitely should.
No, I don't necessarily agree with what you said. You know, like just helping citizens. That'd be a boring DLC for me.
But... Oh no, that would be so boring. Helping citizens.
Help an old woman across the street
doing fetch quests.
I want to push her across the street with my sparrow.
I remember one person that said, "Oh, help me!" Like, "Oh, it'd be cool if you could help citizens like find their lost kids." Like, oh, I don't remember who said that.
I think I probably said that. It would be probably cool. Well, I mean, like but I think I was talking about side quests.
Right.
The fact that
you're talking about side quests.
You know, and they're optional. But
like, it could be an adventure.
Yeah, that could be an
adventure.
An adventure. Help the old lady cross the street. Destiny's really gone downhill these days. Guardians aren't really needed anymore.
Could you imagine? It's just some like old woman that got like lost and is in the middle of like the EDZ. And you just have to fend off like hordes of dregs. She just has no idea what's going on, and you're just slaying thousands of fallen.
Or you start helping this old lady across the street, and when you get to the end of the street, she turns into like a servitor and is like, "Ah, you got me to where I needed to go."
Transform.
Dude, I think you just leaked the whole campaign for the Witch Queen.
We're helping an old lady across the street, and it turns out to be a trick. Sabathoon.
Yeah.
It turns out to be a trick. This is what I'm thinking of, though, is that we start out with old ladies, right? And then we eventually get to the point to where it's like, we need you to investigate the disturbance under the city. You got to go into the
city. It's a noise complaint.
Just a noise complaint. You got to show up and turn down the party. And then there's a drunk driver in the city. So, like, the police have you go find the drunk driver and, like, blow him up.
And then if we complete it, we get a sparrow that has, like, a police siren. Speaking of which, horns on sparrows need to come back.
Oh, please.
Yes.
I cannot. That is the only thing from Destiny 1 that I'm angry that didn't come over.
There.
Yeah, like
you could have unique
actual cosmetics. I would buy.
Yeah.
If I had, I would settle for just a plain, like regular, like 140 speed white sparrow if it had a really cool sounding horn.
Yep. Same.
I won't,
because I would annoy the crap out of my fire team.
Yeah, it would.
I would annoy the crap out of the vendors.
I would want a police siren, dude.
I would want a duck, so I just quack.
A duck.
I would want like Zavala going, whether we want it or not.
Oh, please.
I would pay money for that.
Just ride Zavala.
I'm sure you would. They gotta make that like $90 though. No one can have access to that much power.
There's a wizard on the moon.
Wizard came from the moon.
Okay. This might be kind of a controversial topic, but I kind of want Bungie to create dolls for Destiny or like action figures, like
dolls,
pull string, like with the pull string, like the Woody
like
doll, but with like Zavala. So
they have action figures.
Zavala, and you just go, whether we want it or not, we've set them to a wall, and all the famous Zavala quotes. That would be funny.
Can we get
I feel like you could just make that.
You could. The action figures already exist. Just add a sound thing somehow.
Yeah, just add a little sound chip.
I want to pay the Bungie Store Premium. You know, the extra 40% markup. That's all.
You said Bungie Store Premium, and for some reason, the first thing that popped in my head was Bungie OnlyFans. I don't know why.
Developers for the characters in the game.
Do we get to see feet pics?
I want pictures of Crota's toes.
Oh no! I call it the Bungie Store Premium though because they charge you $25 for a snapback. That's actually not that bad of a price.
The Bungie Store sometimes is ridiculous, sometimes is fine.
It's like spending $30 on a ghost plush. That better be a big plush, because if it's the size I think it's gonna be, I would be very disappointed.
I think it's the size you think it's gonna be.
Yeah.
Trials of Osiris jersey is $60.
How much was the raid ring? Isn't it like 200 or something?
I think it's
100.
129.
Yeah,
that sounds right.
But it is only sterling silver, so.
I mean, that's more than I paid for my wedding ring. So.
Sounds like you're getting an upgrade.
Can we just talk for a second about how ridiculous it is that I just had to pay $777,000 today for that soundtrack. Like,
Oh
my wallet's
gosh.
hurting, man. Like,
You know, I wonder if there's anybody who's ever actually bought that, or will it just
No, there's no way.
I mean,
I don't think
there's
they'd even let you.
I'll do
I was
it.
like,
I guarantee they'd let you. It's just the checkout process. Because when you put in the thing, it makes it cheaper. It's not like it unlocks it.
see if it actually lets you. It actually lets you for $777,000 and 770.
I promise you guys, if I ever win like a $500 million lottery, I will do that just for you guys to test it.
No, if you win a $500 million lottery, we're never seeing you again. I guarantee it.
Or you'll
Yeah,
just see me
you're
with
just
500
gonna-
million pieces of silver in my account. Like,
Buying literally every single piece of Eververse thing that comes out.
if I get $500 million, I'm buying Bungie. Let's be honest. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think
With your beard, you could probably replace Luke Smith.
oh, don't even. That's blasphemy. That's just straight up blasphemy.
You need to have a beard off with him,
A beard off. What does that look like?
so you can both
I don't
shave
know.
whoever grows the best beard within like.
Who's the judge?
Well, is it the best beard or whoever grows it the fastest?
Whoever grows. the-
There's like a lot of
'Cause
qualifiers.
Speed,
that
I'm gonna
do-
win. End of story. No, I'm the fastest beard in the East. Okay, so
Just have Olympic challenges for beards.
This is a Destiny podcast.
Destiny
by the way.
podcast, by the way. Hey, we're talking about Luke Smith. It's fine.
Yeah.
That's a great beard.
Oh, I was just looking at it. One of the things that is really cool on the Bungie store is the sheet music. I wish I would hear more bands playing Destiny music, because Destiny
That'd be
music is
cool.
kind of dope.
Where's the
Like,
sh-
Why don't you form a band?
what's the sheet music for? Like, what music is it?
It's
Like the soundtrack, probably,
like-
right?
they have it for a bunch of different ones, a bunch of different soundtrack scores. I think you got like 10 or 15 on there, and it's for like, you know, if you were like a band director, I'm pretty sure you could use that. It's just I'm not a band director, and I haven't played the trumpet in like 5 years, so I don't think.
Imagine,
But I would love.
imagine being in anything but percussion, the best section.
Hmm.
Facts.
Trumpet. That's where it was at. I was the best. And then
I
was
played the crash
disagree.
cymbals and nothing else.
Oh my.
Incredible. Can you get some crash symbols for a channel point reward?
Yes.
I could.
Like 100K?
actually.
Can you buy
100K?
a gong? I would
don't know.
redeem my points for you to just.
Yeah, because you don't want it. It's gotta be very, very special.
Put a beer on the gong. Then it's instant.
Yes.
I feel like I would do a gong, but when you say gong, the first thing that pops in my mind is the Destiny streamer She Snaps uses a gong, so it feels very
Does she?
repetitive. Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh.
Do like the big iron banner gong behind Saladin, you know?
Maybe I'll
Get a
just
bell.
have a channel point reward for like 20,000 or something, where I'll put on the Shaxx helmet I ordered and just like hit myself in the head with it. Like,
Seems like you'd
gosh.
break that.
nah.
Can you put a? Okay, wait. I had a suggestion for that. I know this is totally off topic.
Dude,
But-
it's all off topic.
Yeah.
This is how it works.
It's a
all right?
crazy
You
week,
know what?
okay?
We
The
were rock
first
solid for an hour and a half, and then, you know, it's just kind of chill.
Yeah.
You know, if anybody's still listening to at this point, they kind of already like, you know, they want to hear about this if they're still
They're in it for the personality.
Yeah, pretty much. For 100 million channel points, can you put that you'll shave your beard?
Oh God.
100.
I don't think
million.
anyone would ever even reach that far, right?
No, it's not. I
don't
mean,
think that's
no,
even possible.
because you can't.
Okay.
There's no system right now. There's no system to like infinitely get channel points. Like a lot of the things you get bonuses for are like the first gift sub of the month, the first cheer of the month. Like,
Otherwise, you pretty much just gotta watch the stream.
yeah,
Like typing in chat gets you points because you like, you know, you click the button.
right.
But like 100 million channel points would be perfect. You might
The
have
only
to shave it. And,
No, you know
like
what? I'm not gonna agree to that because I told my wife the only reason I'm ever gonna shave my beard if it's for like a charity thing and we achieve a lot of money. Like,
That actually makes sense.
I look terrible
we
without a beard. I literally look like a giant toddler.
We make him shave his beard and make him donate $10,000 to charity. Bam.
God.
Finn cosplay? When?
Finn cosplay.
Oh, please. Can you please make that a thing? Make that a goal for a month, dude.
I think it'd be funny if I had him dress up as me for Halloween. Just get a red beard, dye his hair red.
The Halloween event, man.
Yeah.
Festival of the Lost.
Halloween event was a copy paste. Let's just do Finn cosplay and vice versa.
Oh my. Oh, where does this podcast go sometimes?
I don't know.
This is
the best of places.
Yeah, it really does.
This is why they listen.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, we're gonna run out of stuff to talk about Destiny every once in a while.
Well,
Like,
especially
we can
these
only
next few months.
Yeah.
Exactly. For the next few months, we can only talk about so many things.
Well, and here's
We're
the
gonna
thing.
have to start talking about Fallen Order and Fall Guys.
Obviously, we should talk about primarily Destiny, but like, really, it's a podcast. Yes, about Destiny, but also just for people who like Destiny. So
yeah, it's all relevant
Yeah.
information for the most part.
Honestly, have a podcast in about like a month, giving like people suggestions of games to play during the drought.
I mean,
Like,
it's not a
It's
bad
gonna be
idea.
2 hours of the Old Republic.
Yeah, wait.
But I have a lot of games I still play right now that I think if you want something to grind right now that's not Destiny, I got a few games in mind that you could definitely grind.
Is it the Old Republic? Is that the primary
One of
one?
them is the Old Republic. One of them, if you haven't ever grinded the game before, grinding GTA is honestly like if you're a grinder, you can have so much fun if you've never done that grind
Like
before.
multiplayer GTA?
Yeah, like GTA Online. If you've never grinded GTA, for like just to grind up as many as much money as you can, it's such a good game.
The
World
same
of
could probably be
Warships,
said about Red Dead Online.
and Red Dead Online. World of Warships is actually a really fun game to grind. Going for like new ships and things like that.
Any of the like World of Tanks too.
All the BattleNet games are really really fun to grind. So like
All of the BattleNet games?
Is it? Yeah, it's BattleNet, right? World of Warships, World of Tanks, World of Warplanes. Those
No,
three at least.
That's not BattleNet. BattleNet is like Blizzard.
What is it?
I was like, I was like, there's nothing to grind in like Overwatch. I mean, loot boxes, that's about it.
Wargaming.net. All
Gotcha.
the wargaming. The World of Warplanes, World of Warships, World of Tanks. Those are all fun games to grind, and you can have a blast with them if you're playing with friends. And it's like having like an entire podcast just dedicated to giving people some suggestions that they might play if they're kind of little tired of Destiny.
Right.
Which I don't blame you. I'm tired of Destiny right now.
Like I said, I took a break and played Fallen Order. I just, although my break wasn't necessarily because I have nothing to do, it was because I grinded hard for 2 days on the first set of Solstice gear. So,
because you haven't done the Fallen Order yet, have you? Like
nope.
all the way through.
I not only have I not played it all the way through, as a matter of fact, I'm literally on like the second planet. I have not, on purpose, have not heard any spoilers. I've not watched anyone play it. I'm going completely blind, and it's really fun. Like I literally just unlocked Force Push at like the end of the stream.
You haven't gone up against like the Imperial security droids, the like K2SO droids?
No? What the fuck is that?
Like K2SO was the droid from Rogue One, and then like they're
giving them spoilers.
Yeah, wait, no, spoilers.
You want
But if it was anything like the fight I had a pain in the ass with, where it was the tomb guards or whatever, it was a pain in the ass. Like it was fun, but God, I died like 8 times in the first one.
But do you remember Rogue One at the very beginning when the main character, can't think of her name, Jin, tries breaking out and K2SO is like, well, I'm rescuing you, and slams her on the ground?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's in the game.
Oh God.
Like they pick you up and they slam you onto the ground.
Spoiler.
That's as far as I'll go.
It's pretty far.
Anyway, Destiny podcast, by the way.
Yeah.
Hey,
Star Wars.
gaming podcast, all right, with Destiny as the main focus.
Also, sometime soon, or maybe we can wait until we're more on a content drought even than now. I want to do like a podcast where we literally only talk about lore.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Or a couple, honestly, because like there's so much lore.
I have a question though.
Yes.
So, can we get Dave Case on the podcast? I feel like he'd be fun.
He actually, I initially asked him to be on it weekly, and he said his schedule doesn't really allow for that, but he'd be fine being a guest every once in a while. So
I want to get him on as a guest.
Yeah.
Oh, Johnny, we were talking. We need you to get Bife on here.
Yeah, since you guys are best friends.
Yeah.
I'm not friends
daily.
Yes, look here.
Aren't you his nephew or something?
Here, I'll send you a screenshot. I'll put it in the Discord.
You guys are friends on Steam, right?
Yeah, we're friends on Steam, but that's just because I did.
We need a director commentary for his 3-hour-long lore video, okay? We're just gonna go through the whole thing together.
Instead of us doing a lore episode, we just need him to come on and read lore.
I'm sure he'd just do that out of the kindness of his heart.
I'll pay him. I'll pay him in silver. I've got plenty of it.
I'm sure.
Underground silver dealer. Laundering silver.
Under Destiny too.
Oh, yeah, so a lore episode, I actually think it'd be fun to just do one episode of what to do during the content drought. Because there's definitely going to be one by the end of Solstice until the Halloween event, there's going to be a drought.
Yeah.
Even though we're going to be getting Travelers Chosen and probably some more evacuation stuff, it's not going to be much per week.
Travelers Chosen doesn't. I'm pretty much just gonna get Travelers Chosen, and then I'm gonna make my 60-second review on it, and that's gonna be it.
Are you planning on reviewing all the new exotics for the foreseeable future?
Yeah, pretty much. Even though I skipped over the one from this season, just because I wasn't feeling it.
That's fair.
I'm pretty good at it, though. I usually get the video out in under like 2 hours of the exotic coming out.
Damn.
Yeah, I'm impressed.
Pro YouTuber here.
That's literally the only time I have motivation to get a video out in a reasonable amount of time, though. That's why it's not my job.
Right. I recorded footage and recorded a voiceover of that video I talked about weeks ago, putting out about is now a good time to get into Destiny for returning players or new players. And I decided not to post it because I feel like every week my opinion's kind of changing a little bit.
Yeah.
Because at first I was like, everyone, yes, get into it now. But right now I'm kind of like, returning players, maybe not.
Returning players? No, I would say new players. This is actually a good time to get into it right now.
Right.
Because then you got 3 months of just doing the story. Especially if you're a casual player. I mean, for me in Destiny 1, I took a month and a half because I was very casual back then to complete the story. Because I only played on weekends, and I only played 4 hours a weekend. So it's for casual players, this is a great time to get into the game because you got a story to get through. Then you have strikes that you get to play, and you have, if you decide that you want to move up from just being a casual player, then you got nightfalls and raids to do, many raids to do, and dungeons. So if you decide to move beyond just being a casual player, and then as soon as you're done with all that, to be honest, as soon as you're done with all that and starting to get tired of it, the new season's going to be out, and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, there's new stuff to do. It's a perfect time if you've never played the game before or haven't played since the beginning of Destiny 2.
Yeah.
Would be a little upset if they started at Beyond Light and saw someone running around with Anarchy and they said, oh, well, that's a really cool gun, how do I get it? And they respond with, oh, sorry, well, you should have just picked up the game a month earlier.
Yeah,
exactly. Assuming that
should have been there.
Yeah, should have been there.
I feel like it's hard to recommend new players get into the game with New Light being such a mess, though.
Yeah.
If they have a friend who's already playing, sure, get into it. Or if they're devoted enough to want to watch YouTube videos about it and learn in other ways. But learning through the game right now is just next to impossible.
I mean, but I feel like when it comes to a game as complex as Destiny, sometimes that it can be difficult for them to create it. Obviously, we talked about it, that there's some things that they can work on. But even with Star Wars: The Old Republic, as soon as you open up the game in the launch window, they have a link to a website that one of their community members created an entire forum about like there's like 50 or 60 videos on there of introducing people to the game, and they highlighted a member of their community who spent the time to put that together and said, hey, if you're new to the game, go check that out to understand everything. Am I saying that's necessarily a solution? No, but it's kind of nice to see that they're recognizing that their game is complex and that they don't necessarily do the best of jobs explaining everything.
Right.
And it's like Destiny, it's like they recognize that the game is complex, but they don't do anything about it.
Right.
They, at least not even like a temporary fix saying, hey, you know, we put together a list of all our favorite like introduction videos that we think you should watch if you're new to the game. But we don't see that. Plus, that would give a great chance to highlight some members of the community that might, you know, deserve more, a little bit of a shout out than, you know, who put in a lot of work into those videos and then don't see any result out of them.
You probably get more people making them too than just the top 3 YouTubers. Like,
I mean, it's one of those things. Like, trying to right nowadays on Destiny, trying to get into the like weekly, like giving out weekly content, like what's happening in Destiny, is impossible. Trying to get into the area of like exotic guides, like game guides, is nearly impossible because it's all controlled by, you know, all the big YouTubers, I guess. You know, Dado controls all the pretty much so many of the game guides, and then guys like KACKIS control all the news. And it's like, it's not necessarily a bad thing because they all put in a lot of work into those videos, but it's like trying to get into that as a content creator is nearly impossible right now. So,
and it'd be different if there was, you know, every week there was a ton of new content, which I'm not saying I expect that, but then there'd be enough for everyone to kind of get a piece of the pie. But
either that or KACKIS would be creating 3-4 hour long videos every week. I wouldn't put it past. Oh my gosh, I hear about him. He's got such a work ethic. Because I've met him in person too at GuardianCon, and I can believe it because like he's a big dude. Like his muscles are big, so I can believe that he has the dedication.
By the way,
huh?
Quote of the night: he's a big dude. His muscles are big.
He's a big dude. I was like,
big takeaway from our Eververse episode.
I mean, this guy has.
What'd you learn in the Eververse episode? KACKIS has big muscles.
Very big muscles.
His big muscles are gonna flex on the Eververse next season.
Let's get Rick KACKIS on the podcast.
Oh, I'm sure. Let's just bring him in.
Why don't we just get Luke Smith on the podcast? I don't know why we don't just do that.
Ask him, hey man, what's going on in Lightfall? And then he'll just, you know, spill the beans.
Yeah, 100%.
Hey man, when's Destiny 3 launch? How much is it gonna be? And am I gonna be able to keep my vault? Oh yeah, here, let me tell you guys.
Launching in 2029, it's gonna cost $200, and you don't get to keep your vault.
And there's no such thing as random drops. You just every activity just gives you a loot box.
Yeah. Well, that actually brings up kind of a interesting question of the fact of why aren't video game prices changing anymore? Like, why have they staggered out at $60? It feels like.
I was just watching something the other day that was basically predicting that within the next year or two, video game prices are going to go to like $70 or $80.
Okay, because that would make more sense to me. Because I remember
development's getting so much more expensive.
Yeah, but I remember back when I was a kid, the games used to release for like $20 or $40. Like the smaller games would release at 20, and the bigger games would release at 40. And then like I remember when they went up to 60, and like 60 and 40. Because, you know, like Fallen Order would fall into that 40, but then it hasn't ever gone up since then.
And yeah, and like with inflation, it's going to have to.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm saying, is that like inflation at the very least, even if development costs had stayed the exact same, would have to make video games get more expensive. Yet they're sitting at $60, and the only thing I could think of was either one, inflation's not as bad as we thought, unlikely, or number two, it's just the simple fact that like DLCs have prevented them because they know people will buy DLCs. So it's like they're making enough of a profit that they would rather get people through the door first into the game, and then have them buy DLC because that's where they'll make their money.
Right.
Because if I can get you through the door,
or microtransactions in general.
Yeah, at least microtransactions, and like that's what the only thing I could think of was the fact that like we're still making money off of you at $60, and then we're making even more money off of you off of microtransactions. That's just the sprinkling on top of the cake right there.
Yeah, I mean that's Bungie's whole philosophy, basically.
They have announced $70 games for next gen. Okay, so they are starting to go up.
The first one is the NBA. Of course, it's EA starting.
Of course, it's EA. Always EA.
The pioneers of new pricing.
I really, 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 really hope Disney does not give EA an exclusive license on the Star Wars again for another 7 years.
That's funny.
Oh my god.
They're making hand over fist. Of course they're gonna do it again.
Well, but the thing is that if Disney, instead of giving EA an exclusive license, they just gave them a license to make Star Wars games and gave other studios also that same license. That way there's some competition in the market. Because
I mean, they kind of had that with Respawn, right? It's so obvious everyone liked Fallen Order a lot more than anything EA put out.
Respawn's under EA.
EA. EA has the exclusive license for another.
Respawn is an EA company.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, sorry to break it to you, because they're actually by far, in my opinion, the best EA company. But
probably, but like Visceral Games and DICE and all of them had worked on different Star Wars games that either gotten shut down or like the first Battlefront. I was just watching a video
nostalgia.
Yeah, the original, like the Star Wars Battlefront, not the original, the Star Wars Battlefront 2015. They literally took over half of the developers who were working on that team and put them on Battlefield Hardline when Battlefield Hardline was tanking to save the game, and then never back to Battlefront 2015.
Battlefield is oh god, that was such a that's in a bad place. Remember when that used to compete with COD like hard?
Yeah.
Not anymore.
I mean,
I like Battlefield too.
They kind of destroyed Battlefield destroyed COD with Battlefield 1.
You think so?
Battlefield
around that time.
What was the COD game at the time?
Advanced Warfare.
Advanced Warfare, the worst COD game of all time, in my opinion.
Most forgettable COD game.
I think that's the one that made me stop playing every COD game.
Yeah, that was the one that did make me stop playing COD. Even though a lot of people really hated on Call of Duty Ghosts, and I liked Ghost.
Oh, I loved Ghost. It was one of the ones I was actually good at.
So many people complained about it so much, and then 3 years later, everybody's like, I wish we had Ghost now. Whenever it was Advanced Warfare and whatever the one after Advanced Warfare was.
Also, I was just thinking, we're talking about games that are good to get into right now. If you don't count on there being much of an end game for the near future, the beginning and middle of Anthem is actually pretty fun.
Anthem re-released?
They're getting a really big update soon, right? Or did that already happen?
I don't know if they've put a date on it yet. I think they've talked about it because they're basically remaking the whole game.
Yeah, big restructuring, pretty much every aspect.
The core gameplay of Anthem is really fun.
Oh, I know. I played. I
really enjoyed Anthem in the beta.
I stopped the second I got to the end game because there was nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't play beyond the beta because all the crap that came out, and the fact that EA wouldn't let you use exploits, like in-game exploits, like they were banning people because of that.
Yeah,
I never made it to me. I was like, it's your game. You shouldn't rely on me to not exploit something if it's there, because that was the one thing I always love about Bungie is that Bungie doesn't ban you for exploits. I mean, if you're hacking, they're gonna ban you. But if you're just farming, like the
AFK Forge farming,
AFK Forge farming, Menagerie, yeah, they're gonna patch it out of the game, but they're not gonna ban you for it.
Does anyone remember the Dawnblade glitch from I think a couple seasons ago?
No.
Yeah, awesome.
No.
You could infinitely have your Dawnblade super if you swapped your weapons while you were in your super. If you just spamming, your super would not end, and I abused the hell out of that.
I wonder how many people. I feel like that might have been. If people did that in PvP, I could see them banning for that one.
I did it in PvP. I did it a couple times.
think they would, because it's an in-game exploit. Then the Bungie recognizes it as it's our job to fix that.
Well, I think the big thing would be there's hacks that do that too.
Yeah.
So how would unless they have some insane tracking where they literally see what you were doing in a single match, like switching weapons, like.
I don't think they do.
I mean, if they did, there'd probably be a lot less hackers. But,
Yeah.
okay,
Probably.
we should probably wrap this up. We've been talking for a long time, and we're getting very off track. So, next week, what do you guys think? Do you want to do just one lore episode next week?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Give us a week to prepare. Maybe we can all just bring our favorite lore story and talk about them.
So we're gonna do lore next week. I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Next week more Star Wars, says Taco.
You want to talk about Star Wars lore?
Yeah. Let's start up a second podcast, the Jedi podcast. I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So next week we'll do some lore, and it'll be at the same time live on Twitch, or within 24 hours it'll be on YouTube, Spotify, and some smaller podcast websites.
Nah, just come watch us on Twitch for more fun here.
Yeah, Twitch is the best. Let's just be honest.
Genuine interaction.
Genuine.
A little bit of interaction.
Well, I look at chat and I text to them, "Hey, you're dumb. Stop chatting." But anyway, thank you guys for hanging out with us for the podcast. This was episode 3 about the Eververse and about 50 other things. And we will see you next week.
Adios.
Adios, cowboy.
Adios, cowboy ghost.